Most men walk into relationships blind. They believe women value the same things they do. They assume loyalty, effort, provision, and love are at the center of what women truly prioritize. But psychology reveals something far more complex. What women say they want, what they think they want, and what their unconscious actually prioritizes are not always the same thing. A woman's priorities in relationships are not just about love. They are about survival, status, security, and self-expression. These hidden drivers determine why she chooses one man over another, why she stays or why she suddenly withdraws. And the most dangerous mistake a man can make is to confuse her words with her instincts. In today's video, we will break down the 7 hidden priorities of women in relationships. Each priority is deeply rooted in psychology, evolutionary biology, and emotional strategy. Once you understand these layers, you will never again be confused by a woman's choices. You will see the deeper order behind her behavior, even when it looks chaotic or contradictory on the surface. Let's begin with the first 2 hidden priorities, the ones that silently dominate her attraction, her loyalty, and her long-term decisions. Part 1. Security versus excitement. The first hidden conflict of female priorities. When men think about relationships, they usually assume women want one thing above all: security, stability, provision, and loyalty. This belief is half true. Women do value security, but not in the way men imagine. For a woman, security is never just financial or physical. It is also emotional and social. A man who seems stable on paper but emotionally unavailable, socially weak, or psychologically predictable often fails to keep her interest. She may respect his stability, but she will not feel alive with him. This is where the hidden contradiction begins. Women crave security, but they also crave excitement. A man who provides too much stability without tension becomes boring. A man who provides too much excitement without stability becomes dangerous. A woman's unconscious psychology is always trying to balance these forces. She wants the thrill of unpredictability, but inside the container of safety. She wants to feel safe enough to be vulnerable, but not so safe that she feels dead inside. Here's the paradox. The same man can give her security today and bore her tomorrow. What changed? Nothing external. What shifted was her internal balance of needs. Her unconscious priorities constantly readjust. This is why so many men feel confused. I gave her everything, and suddenly it wasn't enough. The truth is that security alone is never enough. A woman also prioritizes how a man makes her feel emotionally alive. This is why she may leave the man who provides financial stability for another, who makes her feel excitement, intensity, and drama. She may not admit it openly, but her unconscious drives pull her toward the man who disrupts her emotional equilibrium. The evolutionary root of this is clear. For survival, a woman needed protection and resources. But for reproduction, she also needed the strong, unpredictable male who could pass on powerful traits. The modern woman still carries these instincts. Her psychology is a battlefield between 2 priorities: stability and thrill, safety and risk, calmness and chaos. Part 2. Status and perception. Why her priorities are never just about you. Another hidden priority that most men never recognize is this. A woman's relationship choices are not only about the man himself, but also about how others see him. In other words, her attraction is tied to status, perception, and social validation. A man might think, she loves me for who I am, but the female psyche rarely isolates love from social reality. Women evolved in communities where reputation mattered. Choosing the wrong partner could bring shame, loss of protection, or lowered status in the tribe. Even today, this instinct rules silently in her mind. This is why women often prioritize men who have social proof. A man who is admired, respected, or desired by other people automatically gains value in her eyes. His worth is not just in his personal qualities, but in how the world responds to him. She unconsciously asks herself, if others see him as powerful, then being with him elevates me too. This is why many women leave men they once loved when his status collapses. Maybe he loses his job, his confidence, or his influence. It's not always cold-hearted calculation, it's instinct. Her unconscious sees lowered status as a threat to her own survival and self-image. At the same time, many women stay with or chase after men who mistreat them, simply because those men carry high status, social dominance, or desirability. To her psychology, the man's position in the social hierarchy weighs heavier than his kindness. This priority explains countless relationship paradoxes. Why she chooses the man who treats her badly over the nice guy. Why she suddenly becomes more interested in you when other women are attracted to you. Why your reputation in her social circle can make or break her desire for you. For men, this can feel unfair, but from the perspective of survival, it makes sense. A woman unconsciously prioritizes what will elevate her and protect her in the larger social system. Loving you is never just about private emotions, it's also about public perception. This is why the smartest men don't only work on themselves in isolation. They also understand the value of status, reputation, and influence. They realize that in female psychology, attraction is not just personal, but social. So when you wonder why a woman suddenly distances herself despite your loyalty, the answer may be this. Her priorities shifted not because of you, but because of how others see you. Part 3. Emotional resonance. Why logic alone cannot hold her. Men often assume that if they provide enough reasoning, enough proof, enough logic, a woman will remain loyal and invested. They think, I did everything right. I explained my intentions. I gave her what she asked for. Why isn't she satisfied? The painful truth is that logic rarely secures a woman's devotion. The female psyche does not prioritize rational explanations over emotional resonance. What does this mean? It means that women often prioritize how a man makes them feel over what he actually does. Actions matter, but the emotions behind them matter more. A man can buy her gifts, provide for her needs, and stay loyal. Yet if she feels emotionally disconnected, she will eventually drift away. This is why emotional resonance is a hidden priority. Women unconsciously test whether a man can access and regulate her emotions. Can he make her feel safe? Can he challenge her without crushing her? Can he lift her moods when she's low or create intensity when things feel dull? The man who connects with her on this emotional frequency becomes unforgettable, while the man who only appeals to her reason fades into the background. Think about how women often describe the men they are most drawn to. They don't say, he was logical and efficient. They say things like, he just gets me, or I feel alive with him. Those words reveal her true priority, emotional resonance. This is also why arguments between men and women spiral so quickly. The man tries to solve the problem with rational steps. The woman escalates, not because she wants the problem solved right away, but because she wants to feel that he understands her emotions. She prioritizes emotional validation over rational solutions. A man who misses this dynamic often grows frustrated, thinking she is irrational. But she's not operating on logic as her main system. She is prioritizing the emotional bond. Part 4. Growth and aspiration. Why she prioritizes potential over the present. Another hidden priority in female psychology is a man's trajectory. Women are deeply influenced not only by who you are right now, but also by who you are becoming. To her unconscious mind, a man's future is just as important as his present. This is why you will often hear women say they are attracted to ambition. They don't mean they want a man who works long hours. They mean they prioritize a man whose life is expanding, who is on a path upward, who has a vision beyond today. To her psyche, potential is a currency more valuable than comfort. Consider this paradox. A man might already have a good career, a house, and stability. Yet if he seems stagnant, uninspired, or complacent, her attraction begins to fade. Another man with less tangible success, but burning ambition, energy, and direction, can feel more magnetic to her. Why? Because women unconsciously prioritize growth. They don't want to attach themselves to a man who has already peaked. They want to grow with a man who is climbing higher. This is also why many relationships collapse when a man gives up on his purpose after securing the relationship. He believes he has arrived. He no longer chases growth. From his perspective, this is normal. From her psychology, it is betrayal. She didn't fall in love only with who he was, but with who he was becoming. When that journey stops, her instincts quietly redirect her attention elsewhere. This priority can feel brutal for men who expect unconditional acceptance, but psychology reveals why it is deeply ingrained. For survival, a woman needed to choose men who could adapt, improve and overcome challenges. Stagnation signaled danger. Growth signaled future protection. Part 5. Attention and presence. Why her mind needs more than your body. Men often underestimate the power of attention. They think that as long as they provide materially or show up physically, their role is complete. But one of the strongest hidden priorities in female psychology is a man's ability to give focused attention and presence. To a woman, attention is not just a luxury, it is proof of value. When you give her your attention, you signal that she is important in your hierarchy. When you withhold attention, even unintentionally, she unconsciously interprets it as rejection or neglect. But here's where most men fail. They confuse mere physical presence with true attention. Sitting next to her while scrolling your phone does not count as presence. Being in the same room while your mind is somewhere else does not meet her psychological need. What she prioritizes is a man who can tune into her world, listen actively, and create moments where she feels truly seen. This priority has deep roots in psychology. For generations, a woman's survival and that of her children depended on a man's ability to pay attention to small details. A shift in her mood, a sign of danger, a change in the environment. Men who ignored these signals put their partners and offspring at risk. Women who bonded with attentive men had better chances of survival. This instinct remains alive in her unconscious today. Attention also functions as emotional currency. The man who gives her focused presence strengthens the bond, while the man who neglects this creates silent distance. And here lies a paradox. Sometimes she will create drama or emotional storms not because she wants chaos, but because she is subconsciously testing your attention. She wants to know whether you can stay grounded and present when her emotions flare. For men, the lesson is not to drown her in constant attention, but to offer intentional, high-quality presence. When you look into her eyes without distraction, when you truly listen without rushing to solve, when you notice small changes in her, you are speaking to one of her deepest priorities. Part 6. The priority of emotional safety. Why she tests you relentlessly. One of the most misunderstood elements of female psychology is the way women create and maintain emotional safety. For men, safety is usually external, protecting the home, providing resources, defending against threats. But for women, safety also exists on the emotional battlefield. She unconsciously prioritizes a man who can withstand her storms without collapsing. This is why women test men. These tests are not random or cruel. They are her unconscious way of asking, are you strong enough to handle me? Can I trust you to remain unshaken when I am at my weakest, angriest, or most vulnerable? If the answer is yes, she feels emotionally safe. If the answer is no, her attraction diminishes. These tests can take many forms. Sometimes it is subtle, a sarcastic comment, a sudden withdrawal, a shift in mood. Sometimes it is more direct, pushing boundaries, questioning your confidence, or even provoking arguments. To a man, these behaviors often feel irrational, but from her psyche's perspective, they are crucial filters. Why does she prioritize emotional safety so highly? Because without it, she cannot surrender to love. Women may give their bodies to men they don't fully trust, but they only give their souls to men who make them feel safe enough to be vulnerable. If she senses that you crumble under pressure, that you react with anger or insecurity, she instinctively pulls back. Her unconscious mind warns her, this man cannot protect me from the chaos of life. He can't even protect himself. This priority has roots in evolutionary psychology. In dangerous environments, a woman's survival depended on being with a man who could maintain composure under threat. The man who panicked easily or lost control endangered not just himself, but everyone around him. Over generations, women developed instincts to test male resilience through emotional pressure. Part 7. The priority of self-expansion. Why she chooses the man who enlarges her world. The final hidden priority in female psychology is not just about what a man gives, but about what he unlocks in her. Women unconsciously prioritize men who expand their world, who awaken new parts of them, who inspire growth and transformation. A relationship for a woman is not just about companionship, it is about self-expansion. She asks herself unconsciously, does this man make me more than I was before? Does he open doors to experiences, perspectives, and versions of myself I could not reach alone? If the answer is yes, her attachment deepens. If the answer is no, the relationship becomes stale. This is why some women stay with men who challenge them, even when those relationships are turbulent. And it is why some women leave stable, comfortable men who never push them beyond their limits. Her psychology is drawn toward expansion, not comfort. Her psychology is drawn toward expansion, not comfort. She wants to feel that by being with you, she is evolving emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, socially. This priority explains why women often admire men with vision, creativity, or mastery. A man immersed in his purpose pulls her into a bigger world. His presence forces her to grow, to stretch, to become more. She prioritizes that experience above the superficial comforts of predictability. There is also a darker side. A woman may stay in a relationship that is objectively harmful because the man is expanding her world emotionally through passion, intensity, or even chaos. To her psyche, expansion often feels more valuable than peace. She may unconsciously believe that growth through pain is better than stagnation through comfort. This is why some women remain entangled with men who do not treat them well but ignite a fire within them. Now that we've uncovered the 7 hidden priorities of female psychology in relationships, the truth becomes unavoidable. What women prioritize is not always what men assume. Security, excitement, status, emotional resonance, growth, attention, safety, and self-expansion. These forces shape her choices more than her words ever reveal. The mistake most men make is believing that love is enough. They think effort, loyalty, or provision alone will secure her devotion. But women are not only guided by conscious decisions, they are moved by unconscious instincts, ancient, emotional, and deeply psychological. Understanding these priorities does not mean manipulating women. It means aligning yourself with reality. It means no longer being confused when her behavior shifts. It means no longer resenting her for what you don't understand. Instead, you begin to see the structure beneath the chaos. The man who grasps these truths gains power. He does not waste years giving what she doesn't truly value. He gives from a place of strength, wisdom, and clarity. He learns how to combine security with excitement, how to build status while staying grounded, how to connect emotionally while leading with reason. He grows constantly, offers attention intentionally, passes her tests with calmness, and expands her world through his vision. And once you embody these qualities, you no longer chase. You no longer fear loss. You no longer resent female nature. Instead, you master the hidden psychology of female priorities in relationships, and that mastery changes everything. So remember this: she may never tell you what she truly prioritizes, but her actions always reveal it. If you can read between the lines, if you can see past her words into her unconscious drives, you will not only understand women, you will understand the deeper patterns that govern human attraction, loyalty, and love. This is the key. And now you hold it.